Have you ever wished you could just upgrade your brain? Well, guess what? You absolutely can. Today, we're diving into neuroplasticity, the incredible science of how your brain can literally rewire itself. And no, this isn't science fiction. It's a built-in feature we all have, and it completely changes what we thought was possible. So let me ask you a question. Do you think your brain is pretty much set in stone once you become an adult? For the longest time, science basically said, yep, sorry. The brain was seen as this piece of hardware that was fully assembled by your early 20s. After that, you were kind of stuck with what you had. And I'm not exaggerating. For decades, this idea of a fixed brain was the undisputed truth in neuroscience, but as we're about to see, that whole idea has been completely and totally shattered. And that brings us to the star of our show, neuroplasticity. Let's break that down. Neuro for the neurons, your brain cells. And plasticity because, well, your brain is moldable, it's changeable. This isn't just some cool concept. It's the very reason you can learn anything new, whether it's a new language or just how to bake bread. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting. Get this. A whopping 90% of people are actually aware that their brain can change. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive disconnect between knowing it's possible and knowing how to actually do it. I mean, this slide says it all, right? Look at that gap between awareness and action. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. So think of this as your personal user manual for building a better brain. So, before we jump into the how, let's take a quick tour of the where. Let's imagine your brain is this bustling headquarters with all these different departments, each one responsible for a different critical task. Right up front, behind your forehead, you've got the frontal lobe. This is the big boss, the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of the big picture stuff, making decisions, solving complex problems, and it even helps shape your personality. It's actually why teenagers sometimes make, well, questionable choices. This part of the brain isn't fully online until your mid-20s. Next up is the parietal lobe. Think of this as your brain's sensory command center. It's what tells you that a pan is hot before you even consciously realize you've touched it. It's also kind of like your internal GPS, helping you navigate the world without constantly bumping into things.
Now, on the sides of your head, you'll find the temporal lobes. These are like the brain's super efficient librarians. They're responsible for processing sounds, understanding language, and carefully filing away all your memories so you can retrieve them later.
And way at the back, we have the occipital lobe. This is the brain's dedicated movie screen. Its one and only job is to process every single thing you see, shapes, colors, movement, you name it. So we've met the different departments of the brain, but how do they all talk to each other? For that, we need to zoom in, way in, down to the level of individual brain cells. Okay, try to wrap your head around this number. Your brain is home to nearly 100 billion neurons. That's billion with a B. Each one is like a tiny computer, and they're all connected, forming a network so vast it's almost impossible to comprehend. This, right here, is where the real magic happens. So, how do these neurons actually talk? Well, it's this beautiful little dance of electricity and chemistry. An electrical signal zips down one neuron, which triggers the release of these chemical messengers. These little messengers then float across a tiny gap and deliver the message to the next neuron in line. It happens billions of times a second. But here's the thing. It's not just a one-way street of go-go signals. Some of these chemical messengers are like a green light, telling the next neuron to fire, fire, fire. But others are like a red light, telling it to stop, hold on. And your brain is constantly, and I mean constantly, calculating this perfect balance of green and red lights to make everything happen. Okay, now that we understand how these neurons chat, we can get to the absolute heart of the matter. Neuroplasticity is what happens when all of this constant chatter actually changes the physical wiring of your brain. And the best part is, you get to be the one in charge of the rewiring project. I want you to imagine your brain is a dense forest. Every time you learn something new, you're forging a new path through the trees. The more you use that path, the wider and clearer it becomes, right? And what about the paths you neglect? Well, they get overgrown and eventually disappear. It's just your brain's amazing way of staying lean and efficient. Now, these changes come in two main flavors. First, there's functional plasticity. This is when your brain cleverly reroutes traffic after an accident, like a stroke, moving a job from a damaged area to a healthy one. Then there's structural plasticity. This is when you actually build brand new roads in that forest, just by learning a new skill. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. Now that we know how the brain changes, how can we become the active architects of that change? Well, here are the blueprints.
So, how do you put neuroplasticity to work for you? First, never stop learning. Every new skill you pick up is like a serious workout for your brain. Second, move your body. Exercise isn't just for your muscles, it actually helps grow new brain cells. Third, get your sleep. It's non-negotiable. It's when your brain does its most important housekeeping. Fourth, practice mindfulness. It's like a mental reset button. And finally, don't forget to play. It is one of the best ways to keep your brain young and agile. These 5 habits are an incredible start, but there's one more tool, and it's something powerful you can do anytime, anywhere, and it's often totally overlooked. Just think about that for a second. When was the last time you really looked at something? I don't mean just glanced at it, but truly observed it. That simple act of paying close attention is a powerful form of brain training. It strengthens your ability to focus and helps you see the world in a completely new light. So, what's the bottom line here? It's that your brain's story isn't written in stone. You're the author, and you get to decide what happens in the very next chapter.
It's never too late to start. It's never too early. Your brain is a constant work in progress, and you have the power to shape its future. Every healthy choice you make, every new thing you learn, it's an investment in a better brain. Your brain is ready and waiting for its next assignment. Its potential is truly uncharted territory. So the only real question is, what are you going to teach it next?